Look at what the cat dragged in. Do you see what that is? This is the topper. And look how they have customized the box. That's pretty cool. And they customized the box. And that is pretty cool. Spooky Pinball, Evil Dead, and that says animated topper. And look at that. So, what are we going to be doing with this pinball machine? We're going to put it in our secret bar. Now, I would put it into the escape room itself, but I'm not going to. And it's not because I don't think it would be super cool in there, because I actually think it would be super cool in there. But that company, I'm not saying they're not a good company, because they are, but they don't have the best reputation yet. They're a newer company, and I don't want to put it on like display for people to play over and over and over again, thinking, you know, that it might not last. I mean, it probably will, but you know, like when you're talking about like a Stern pinball, you're talking about something that, you know, the company has a long track record, but I'm just afraid to have something break on the game. But you know, all pinballs break. But anyway, that game right there is probably the best game they've ever made. Not only is it the best game they've ever made, it might be one of the coolest games anyone's ever made. And that's another reason, you know, I don't want to like put it in the escape room where it might get mangled. Okay, and not that any of the games get mangled in there, they don't, but they get played a lot. And without knowing that it's going to hold up, I don't want to risk it because it's too cool. If it wasn't as cool as it is, I probably wouldn't care. Now, a couple things. I want to go over a new topic today. And I also wanted to let everybody know that here at The Darkness, we're working on a new scene, if you can even believe this. And it's not going to be done correctly. I'm going to say that right up front. Because we don't have time to do it correctly. If we did have time to do it correctly, I would do it. Why don't we have time to do it correctly? That's a good question. Well, I can explain why. And there we go. And then you see we're starting to get the basis in. And there's Frankenstein. He's been lifted off the ground. Okay. And then you'll notice there's going to be a scare box here. So the actor can now get on both sides. So we have to put his other side of his shoulder up. Okay. But like, what else is going in here? We're going to build a wall right here in the middle. And then we're going to build out the ceiling. And it's going to be really cool. The reason why I'm not going all out on it is because that Egyptian cobra head makes no sense sitting to that, nor does this Egyptian pillar make any sense. None of it makes any sense. And we're opening May the 3rd. And so I want to keep the scene super claustrophobic, you know, with a lot of jute and stuff, and just kind of sort of get it done quickly. And then hopefully you won't see the cobra because we'll put jute across there and you won't even notice it. And but we're going to get the Frankenstein in. So he's not going to move from this spot. Okay. But there will be another scare box right here. But in the end, this is a scene that I could see myself coming back to when I have time and actually doing it the right way. Now we're going to put beams on the wall here. We're going to put vacuum form on the wall here. We're going to like decor out these beams here. Okay, we're going to put foam and level that out on the vacuum form. We're going to vacuum form that back wall back there. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing. Okay, and then the biggest thing we're going to be doing, or the coolest thing, is we're going to do exactly what Universal Studios did with their lighting for their Frankenstein attraction. We've already got it programmed. It's already ready to go. And you can see it sitting over here. This is the same thing that Universal Studios used in their Frankenstein ride. And then we're going to use this, and all the electrical will be coming out of it. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. And the scene won't be the way I want it to be. Why? Because I don't have time. I sold 2 more Blacklight mini golfs today. We have to get Creepy World going. Although we're not going to do any renovations to Creepy World, we have to like repair. We have to do a lot of stuff to it. And we have a lot of mini golfs to build, a lot of mini golfs to install. And so my goal was to get the Frankenstein out of this room, in there, out of my hair, and put it in a place where I could come back later and improve the scene. So if I was to do a haunt tour for 2025, there would be a brand new Frankenstein scene. Not the one that you're going to see when it's done here in a couple days. The one where I would go back, and I'm hoping to take out my Frankenstein escape room and change it over to Dragon Slayer escape room. So it'd be a dragon themed escape room. And then I would be able to take all the Frankenstein props out of there, come back over here and rebuild the scene and make it more like Frankenstein's lab. So that's what we're going to try to do. Okay. So right now, what I would say is we're doing the meat and potatoes, the foundation of what will later become a cooler scene down the road. Does this make sense? Now, I also wanted to say that, you know, people have been asking if I would go to the EHC show. Thinking about it, but, you know, is there any haunts over there that I could come and visit and come to your place, make a video with you, whether you're in New Jersey, Philadelphia, or anywhere else? Reach out to me, let me know, and I would love to come and make a video with you. Possibly. That's if I go to the EHC show. I was talking to Field of Screams yesterday, and they told me that there was a little bit of confusion. I think people thought that they were opening the whole place. Now, I can tell you, I've been there. When I first heard that they were part of the tour, the first thing that jumped in my head was, how in the world are they going to get the whole place open? That's next to impossible. In April? What? And then, you know, he told me that, you know, that they're not having anyone do the hayride. It's impossible. It takes all summer, you know, to get it up and running again. And for those people who don't know, Scream Park is by far the most difficult thing to get ready to open for a haunt season, because you store so much stuff, and you can't start putting it out in the winter or the end of in spring, only to like put it all back again for 300 or 400 people. That's craziness. Okay, so but I can tell you that what Field of Screams is doing sounds really exciting and a lot of fun. And it's definitely still worth going to, because even their haunted houses are top notch. And from what I was understanding, they're still going to have actors, and they're going to go all out with those areas. But unfortunately, there won't be a hayride. And I understand why, because it's just too much. And I can tell you from my perspective, Creepy World is a haunt that I've always wanted to open for Transworld and never have been able to do it, because I can't set it up in the winter. And, you know, especially when Transworld's been at the end of February for a couple of years in a row, or in the middle of February, it's never going to happen. Now, if they get back to the end of March, I mean, that gives you an extra month. It's possible to open Creepy World. But now I got to start thinking about, like, would it be maybe it would work, like to do like where you just open the haunts and not the hayride or something like that. I don't know. I would like to open the whole thing. It'd be very difficult, very hard to do, but I would love to do it. And so even though this video topic isn't about do haunt tours make money, I can tell you this, that from what I've seen, there's a couple different tickets to the Field of Screams as an example. I think one is $80 and it goes up, and I think the highest ticket is $120. For somebody to open, even if it's part of their haunt for an off-season event, if you own and operate a haunt and you make a living doing haunts, it's definitely worth it, because it's $80, it's $100. You're going to spend more money to get there than you will going through the haunt. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Who cares? And I would say too, like with our haunt tour, and I see people whine and cry like little babies because we're charging $50. Woo! I mean, we're criminals. Please investigate us. Put us in the El Salvador prison. We spend our entire winter trying to get the haunt updated, changed, fixed. So you have something new and exciting to see. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, and literally we damn near kill ourselves to get to the point where we could actually open it for Transworld, especially when it's in February. It's crazy. But haunt tours don't make money. Nobody makes money. So I can tell you this, like this year we did our behind the scenes tour, and it was the highest price we'd ever charged. I think it was like $200 or something like that. But it's worth it. It's totally worth it. Think about some of the bigger haunts in the country, like 13th Gate, for example. If he said, hey, I'm going to do a behind the scenes tour for the haunted house industry, and the price is going to be $399. It doesn't include anything but a behind the scenes tour of 13th Gate. Would it be worth it? Well, hell yes, it would be worth it, especially if you said you could take photos and pictures and whatever. I would pay the $399 in 20 seconds, which would also include the time it would take me to drive there, fly there, or get a hotel or whatever else. It would be absolutely worth it. And I'm going to throw something out there to the entire haunted house industry, because EHC show is in Philadelphia. Then they also have the legendary haunt tour, which kind of comes to certain haunts at the end of the season, which is still bad for most haunted house owners because they're winding down, or maybe they're still open themselves, or they're taking their haunt or putting it away, or preparing for Thanksgiving, or preparing to go to IAPA or whatever. It's still not great, and not a ton of people go to it. I mean, it's like 300-ish people. I will throw something out to you. Let's say, hypothetically, you're in Cincinnati, okay, and we're going to talk about Dent Schoolhouse. If Dent Schoolhouse and USS Nightmare, as a combination, announced to the haunted house industry that, hey, June the 10th, this is no affiliation with Transworld or any kind of show just popping in. But if I was Dent Schoolhouse, and I'm just going to throw this out there, there's a show called Mass Fest that comes to their show, along with a show called Horror Hound. If I was Dent Schoolhouse, I would announce tomorrow that we're doing a behind-the-scenes tour, and it's going to include lunch, and it's going to include USS Nightmare, okay? And you can take photos and videos, and we're going to have like a little seminar, and we're going to like talk to you about how we do everything. And it's going to be limited to the first 300 people, and the tickets are going to be $299. Let's do math on that. Let's do math. Let's see. Somebody sent me a text while I was reading it. So let's say Dent Schoolhouse and USS Nightmare got together and they did that. And tickets were $299, and it was limited to the first 300 people. That's $89,700. Okay. Would it be worth it? Yes. Do I think they would get 300 people to go? Yes, I do. And I think would be a great little money maker for them, good for them. And they could literally say, and by the way, while you're here, you can go to Mass Fest, which was one of the coolest shows I've ever been to. While you're here, you can go to Whorehound as well. Totally makes sense, okay? Our tour is on Saturday. Come in for Mass Fest on Friday, you know, and you can go back to Mass Fest, Whorehound on Sunday. Totally makes sense. Here's my point. You don't have to have Transworld or HauntCon or Fear Expo or any of these shows to come to your town for you to hold an event. If you think your haunt has what it takes with that kind of scrutiny and whatnot, this is a huge opportunity for a moneymaker for any haunt in the country. And I would go one farther, and I just use Cincinnati as just an example. But I mean, like, if I was to pop, you know, off the top of my head, let's take Salt Lake City. If Nightmare on 13th Street and the Fear Factory, is that what it's called? The Fear Factory? If the two of them announced the same exact thing, hey Riley, give me a second. If the two of them announced the exact same thing, would people go to it? I absolutely think they would. And it would be a nice little revenue for them, and it would be a benefit to the haunted house industry, because I don't think people want to go to haunt tours for Legendary the same way that they would go in June or May or April or March, okay, even though that's when St. Louis show is. I think they would love that, and I think that people would go. And I think that's something the Haunted House Association should jump in on as well, and try to have rent a room at a hotel and do safety seminars sponsored by the Haunted House Association. Meet and greets, okay? These would be fantastic. You don't have to have Legendary come to your town to do this. If you're 13th Gate Haunted House, you can do this 110%. If you're Dent Schoolhouse, you can do this 110%. I'll throw another one out there, okay? Haunted Overload, okay? If Haunted Overload said, we're going to do that in combination with Fright Kingdom and John Denley, as an example, in Salem, okay? And we're going to do, so you can come and hang out in Salem, okay, at your own leisure. And yet, you can get a behind-the-scenes tour of Haunted Overload and Fright Kingdom, just as an example. Would people pay $450 for that? By the way, you notice I just jumped the price. Yes, I do think they would. I think they would sell every ticket. And the only way that you would be able, in my opinion, to make money with haunt tours is if you had a disclaimer and you said, you know, like, when you come, we're going to have as much of our haunt ready as we can at that time. Fright Kingdom, I mean, is indoors, so they don't have an issue. But Haunted Overload is mostly set up, so you would be able to do that behind-the-scenes tour. And then, of course, like I said, you can go over to Salem and you can see John Denley's haunts. You can just tool around Salem. It's not quite as busy in May. And this would be a great event. But just opening and doing like a little seminar like I'm doing, but you're not really trying to get actors and everything else. Now, when you try to open the way Penthurst did last year, where you try to get everything on the outside set up, you try to get all the actors, okay, yeah, you're going to lose a fortune, and you're going to stress yourself out. You're going to lose all the hair on your head for sure. And, you know, just kind of sort of coming back full circle to Field of Screams, there's no way I would have ever expected them to have the whole entire place open. There's just no possible way, because the place is too big and it's too much work to set up and get that up and running in April. There's just no way, okay? But you know what I think? If Field of Screams, for example, said, we're going to have a behind-the-scenes tour, and it's exclusive, and we're going to give you lunch, and we're going to give you a tour of the whole place, and we're going to explain everything, and it's going to be limited to the first 300 haunt owner operators, and it's going to be $300 a piece. Do I think people would pay it? Do I think they would sell out? 100%. 100%. But whenever you do a haunt tour where you're going to include actors and you're going to get everything, especially if you're a screen park and you're going to try to set up everything outside, you're going to staff that whole thing, no, there's no possible way. And I think, this is just me, that haunt owners would prefer the behind the scenes, just see it in the daytime, be able to take photos and learn from you and, learn from your experiences. And I think this is the better way to go. Opening with actors, I don't think haunt owners care about as much as they would a legitimate behind the scenes tour of the whole show. That's my opinion. So I think this is great that Field of Screams is opening. I think this is fantastic. Congrats. While at the same time, I completely understand why they can't open the whole entire thing. So anyway, I wanted to say that with regards to haunt tours, I got burned out on them a little bit, and of course we didn't have them literally with actors for 4 years. And I've never wanted to open unless we did something. But we've actually done a lot since Transworld even happened. And we're going to make another video on that because we've been doing lighting effects all through the place. So we're going to do a video with Alex about that. And then we're building this Frankenstein scene, something we'll probably have to come back to. It's something I would like to get some props for, to like doll it up and everything. And so, yeah, there's some stuff going on there that I would like to get done. Between now and Halloween, our Halloween show. So it's possible that we open the darkness with the behind the scenes tour, which is the best kind, because it's really the only way to really soak up the total environment and understand what is really going on. So, but we'll see. But this EHC show sounds like a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of people are going to go, and I think that's fantastic, and I can't wait. Now, here's the topic that I wanted to talk about today. What are you doing, Riley?
On the phone.
There's my son over there. Riley, do you want to go to the EHC show?
No.
Well, if I drag you, will you come?
No.
Why not?
I don't even know what it is.
Eastern Haunt Convention.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
It's in 2 weeks.
I got a bachelor trip.
He's got a bachelor trip. Who you on the phone with?
What?
Who you on the phone with?
None of your business.
Okay. Hey, go find Alex.
Why?
See if he wants to come.
Come where? I told you I'm not hungry.
Well, go find him. All right. So here's the topic I wanted to talk about today, because I think this is a very interesting one. So I think his name is Sheldon. I think he's the guy, Doug Sheldon. He's the guy that started the Fear Expo that bombed, okay? Just as I predicted, it would bomb, okay? Because this industry doesn't need 50 trade shows. And it doesn't need MHC anymore either, okay? I think this Eastern Haunt Convention is cool because it's in an area where there's a lot of haunts to tour. I think they've mined MHC, they've mined Chicago, and I can't imagine this thing makes a lot of money, okay? Like, why doesn't Transworld just kill MHC? Just be done with it, okay? And go to EHC and mine that area out, and then maybe cancel the EHC show and move it to like move it to Boston, move it up near Salem, Massachusetts. Let it become like the new HauntCon, okay? But actually with smart people running it, not dumb people. Okay, because that's who ran HauntCon for years, really dumb people. And so let smart people run it, and then move it to Boston and do haunt tours for Haunted Overload and and all of that, and go to Salem, Massachusetts, and maybe go to the filming locations of Hocus Pocus or whatever. Who knows? Okay, and then maybe, move it. Let it go there for a couple years and do all the haunts there, and then maybe move it to. I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head, something really cool. I don't think you can move it to a city like Utah because there's nobody anywhere close to Utah, and it's not a driving city. You can't move it to Denver, okay? You've got to move it where there's people, okay? Or people have access, quick access with a car. That's why EHC is such a great spot, because Philadelphia is a hotbed. But maybe they move it to a hotbed area in Ohio, a hotbed area, in Boston. Okay, I would like to see that, and there's other cities too that I can think of. New Orleans might work just because it's so spooky and voodoo, and you have 13th Gate. But I don't know. That's all the way on the bottom of the country. But I'd have to think about it. But I do think this would be a great idea, and I would love to see that happen. But I just think that MHC, especially with EHC, has basically been castrated, because people are more focused on the EHC show now than the MHC show. But we'll see. That's just my opinion. But with all that being said, this Doug Sheldon, who I don't even know how the guy thinks, he's an expert at anything, even maybe not even tying his own shoes, because the Fear Expo was a complete disaster. It just was, okay? Now, I think he's in the haunt business, and maybe he is, but it just seems like, snake oily to me. That's just my opinion. I may be wrong, who knows? But, I don't have nothing against the guy. But he said something today that I just thought was kind of silly, and that's the topic for today. Should haunted house owners do everything themselves? Because the haunted house industry has been known as do-it-yourselfers. Do-it-yourselfers. Do everything yourself. And let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you a tip right now. The haunts that are do-it-yourselfers are the worst haunts in the country. There, you heard me say it. Because you can't do everything. So if Doug Sheldon's comments about going out and just buying fabric and putting paint on it, that takes time. And who does it? What do you have? Do you have 40 people working for you that can do all these things? Who builds your scenes, costumes? What are you going to start making masks too? This is ridiculous, okay? There's absolutely nothing wrong with somebody going to Goodwill, buying a bunch of suits, let's say, distressing them, scraping them, painting them, bloodying them up, and then selling them for a profit, because they're providing a service, okay? It's kind of like, you have an air compressor, okay? And maybe you can fix it, maybe you can't. Or should you call somebody to come and fix it so you can keep your focus on other things that you are really good at? So in other words, let's say you're a haunt owner and you cut your own grass, you clean your own house, you make your own food. In other words, you never go to a restaurant. You change your own oil right in the driveway, okay? Your lawnmower needs blade sharpening, so you literally hike that up and do that too. You got plumbing problems and you're gonna fix that, okay? Oh, and by the way, you run a haunted house and you're also going to make your own costumes. You're going to build your own scenes, paint your own sets, do all the lighting, do all the hiring, basically do everything, okay? Your haunted house is probably terrible. It's absolutely terrible. That means you're not doing anything all out or correct. Now, let me just say this, okay? If you were successful in business, okay, and I know a lot of people they're just not, but if you're successful in business, you would not fix your own plumbing. You would not make your own masks. You would not, you, just because you know how to replace your roof doesn't mean you would. Because what does it cost to replace, like, say, a moderate sized house roof? $5 grand, $6 grand? Okay, if you were to have a successful haunt, you don't have time for this. You have, you're living in a different age now where you got to come up with all this social media content. You've got to come up with, like, all of this stuff. Who has time to do this? And I'm going to give an example. Okay, I'm part of a group called Haunted America, and there's a group within the group that are all collectively paying to create social media content. Why? We're hiring somebody to do it for us, and we're all splitting the costs. Well, because the time it would take for us to make it ourselves, we could do something else. How do you grow your business if you're complaining about costumes? Okay, that somebody takes the time, because I'm going to tell you what, the number one reason why that you can't ever get anything done is because you're always out there chasing materials. This is like the most time-consuming thing of any project, is chasing materials. So if you could pay a little extra and have it delivered to you, I mean, you're ahead of the game because you just saved yourself a whole day. But when you have to go to Home Depot, and I've learned the hard way. So when I go to Home Depot, they say, well, I need 2 of these and 3 of these. I buy 6 of those and 10 of those. Why? Because I'll buy the amount that they told me to, and then I'll turn around and say we need more. You always buy more because the time it takes to go back and get more is just, you don't get anything done. So you're going to tell me that you're complaining because people go to a Salvation Army and get some cool dresses or a tuxedo, and they put in the time to go to multiples, right? So they spend their time, they spend their gas, and they go and they get costumes, and then they change them, they sew things, whatever they do, and they make them look cooler than ever before. And you have a problem with this? Seriously? Because, if you're Universal, you might have a seamstress department, but you have 10,000, 20,000, employees probably Universal has down there in Orlando. You can have all these departments, but you're not going to have all these departments in a haunted house. A haunted house really is do-it-yourselfer, especially 20 years ago. It's almost completely 100%. And think about what a haunted house looked like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They are garbage compared to today. Well, that's because you've got vendors picking up the slack. So instead of you maybe making this, we're making it for you. You pay a little more, but it helps move the needle, helps you move quicker to a better result. Back in the days when I used to build haunted houses for theme parks, we used to build the animations and the haunted houses. And looking back, the haunted houses weren't that good. Once I gave up the idea of making the animations and just building the haunted houses got 20 times better. Why? Because we're spending all of our time focusing on one thing opposed to all over the map. So I can tell you, if you want to grow your business and you want it to thrive, then you're going to pay a little extra, okay, to have somebody provide you a service of providing a costume. You're going to pay a little extra. I'm sure you could make your own blood. Anybody can. It's not that difficult. But hey, if you just buy it, then you don't have to make it. So you paid a little more, but you got to think about where are you trying to go here? You're trying to get to the top of the mountain the fastest. Well, if you're trying to do that, then you're not doing everything yourself. Because if you are, I'll be on the top of the mountain, and you'll be like a quarter of the way up, okay? And I would have already been like, yeah, it's really cool. And I would have already been down the mountain and back home watching television while you're only halfway up the mountain. Does this make sense? You can't build everything yourself. You got to bring in people. And by the way, this brings up another topic. This is kind of aggravating because you get these idiots on Facebook that say stupid shit like, pardon my French, of like, oh no, his employees did it. He hired people to do it. Okay? Oh, and that's the funny part about Elon Musk. Oh no, Elon Musk just invested money and his workers did everything. Oh, okay. All right. If you really want to believe that, his workers did do stuff, and he couldn't have done it without them. But they wouldn't have been able to do it without Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the glue for all of the companies. He's the problem solver. Without him, nothing works. Okay, you have to have a leader. And at a haunted house, yes, I can hire people and they could paint something, they could theme something, they could put some lights up, they can help with animatronics, they can do this, they can do that. But you've got multiple people working, but only one leader directing everybody to do everything. And so I'm not like saying, hey, praise only the leader, because it takes a team to conquer, right? But you only have so many people on your team. This is why you've got to be like gracious and happy that you have people out there making costumes. Like, this is a no-brainer. If you're going to grow your business, you've got to be able to work with more people. You've got to be able to have people out there, right, that can help you grow your business. This is just common sense. So thanks for watching this video. We're going to have some other videos coming soon, and we'll show you what the darkness looks like when it's completely done, as far as we're going to get this round on the new renovations for the darkness. And I hope all the haunts up in the Philly area do really well for their tour, and I hope the show is fantastic, and we'll see if I come. But do you want to grow your business? Then don't be a 100% do-it-yourselfer, because your haunt will never be great. It won't, because there's not enough time in the day or enough money in the bank to hire all the people to work for you, that you can't go buy a costume or a mask or this or a prop or whatever. I don't know. You tell me in the comments, do you think I'm right or wrong? Until then.